If you want to learn the factorization of the quadratics like this, in which the coefficient of x square is 1, then you should refer my previous video. In that video, I have explained the factorization of quadratics from the beginning. In this tutorial, I will take the examples of quadratics in which the coefficient of x square is other than 1. For the factorization of these quadratics, I will make use of these 4 rules. They are very important. Let us see this example. First of all, I will obtain the product of these 3 and 10. So 3 times 10 is 30. Okay. Now we should think of the factors of 30 and read this rule. See, this last term is positive. If the last term is positive, obtain the middle term by addition. That means I have to obtain this 11 by addition. That's damn easy. 6 5s are 30. 6 plus 5 is 11. See this rule, obtain the middle term by addition. Addition of these two is 11. Now second rule, if the last term is positive, apply the sign of middle term to both factors. Apply the sign of middle term to both factors. So it is even more clear, minus 6 and minus 5 is minus 11. Now apply x to them. 3x squared. Instead of this minus 11x, I will write these two terms. That is minus 6x minus 5x plus 10. This minus 11x is replaced by this minus 6x and minus 5x. Now, create two pairs and try to take something common from these pairs itself. 3 2s are 6, so 3 is common. X, so x is also common. So there remains x. X into x is x squared minus 3 times 2 is 6. This x has been taken out. Okay. Minus 5 2s are 10. So 5 is common. X is not over here. So x cannot be taken common. 5 into x is 5x. This sign is very, very important. Minus times minus gives you plus. 5 2s are 10. Or simply, you can remember that if you are taking a negative sign over here, the sign inside the bracket must be changed. That's all. From this bracket, the x minus 2 is there. So take it common. So there remains 3x minus 5. So we got the factors of this particular quadratic. Second example, that is 5x squared plus 12x plus 4. First of all, multiplication of these two numbers should be done. 5 times 4 is 20. So factors of 20 should be obtained. See the sign of the last term. Last term is positive. If the last term is positive, obtain the middle term by addition. So I have to obtain this 12 by addition. Addition of these two is 9. I want 12. Okay. Let us think of other factors of 20. Other factors of 20. 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 plus 2 is 12. So I have followed this rule number 1. Obtain the middle term by addition. 10 plus 2 is 12. Now the second rule. If the last term is positive, apply the sign of middle term to both factors. Here the middle term is positive, so I have to apply the positive sign to both factors. And obviously this x. So plus 10x plus 2x is plus 12x. That's fine. 5x squared plus 10x plus 2x plus 4. Create pairs over here. 5 times 2 is 10. So 5 is common. X is present in both the terms. So x is also common. So what remains inside the bracket? 5 is outside. X into x is x squared. You can think in the opposite way. Out of the 2 powers of x, 1 is kept outside, so 1 will remain inside. Plus 5 2s are 10. This x is taken out. Plus 2 2s are 4, so 2 is common. But there is no x over here, so x cannot be taken common. Keep it as it is. There remains x plus 2 times 2 is 4. See here, the sign is not changed by me because there is positive sign over here. If there is negative sign over here, you have to change the sign in the bracket, but not needed over here. X plus 2, so take x plus 2 common. So that remains 5x plus 2. These are the demanded factors. Let us see this third example. First of all, I should obtain the product of 4 and 15. So 15 times 4 is 60. Okay. Now, see the sign of last term. Last term is positive. If the last term is positive, obtain the middle term by addition. So I have to obtain this 23 by addition. How can I obtain this? 15 plus 4 is 19. It is not 23. 15 times 4 is 60. 15 plus 4 is 19. So these are not the factors we need. 10 times 6 is 60. But 10 plus 6 is 16, not the 23. So these are not the factors. 20 times 3 is 60. 20 plus 3 is 23. That's fine. So these are the demanded factors. Now, second rule. If the last term is positive, apply the sign of middle term to both factors. Apply the sign of middle term to both factors. So both are negative. Use this x. So it seems good. Minus 20x and minus 3x. So we are getting minus 23x. And 20 times 3 is 60. That's cool. 4x squared. This minus 20x. Minus 3x. Plus 15. See what I did actually. I have replaced this 23 by factors. This 20 and 3 are 23. Obtain 2 pairs. Now, please be cautious about taking something common. So what is common from this 4 and 20? 4 5s are 20. So 4 is common. X is present in both the terms. So x is also common. So there remains x into x is x squared minus 4 5s are 20. This x has been taken common. minus 3 5s are 15. So 3 is common. X is not present over here. So X cannot be taken common. Okay. X. Now the sign, as there is negative sign over here, we have to make change in this sign. This positive sign will become negative. 3 5s are 15. And it is valid, you see. Minus 3 into minus 5. Minus minus plus. 3 5s are 15. Now from this big bracket, try to take something common. X minus 5 is present. So it is common in both the terms. So I have 4x minus 3. So these are the demanded factors. Another example, that is 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. Okay. Product of these two, 3 times 6 is 18. And the last term is positive. If the last term is positive, obtain the middle term by addition. So I have to obtain this 11 by addition. Addition of these two is 9, not 11. So these are not my factors. Okay. You can also think of this. 18 ones are 18, but 18 plus 1 is 19, not 11. So these are not the factors. Okay. Then I should think of 9 2s are 18. 9 plus 2 is 11. That's fine. Now the second rule. If the last term is positive, like this, if the last term is positive, apply the sign of middle term. Apply the sign of middle term to both the factors. Apply the sign of middle term to both the factors. And use this x. Minus 9x and minus 2x is minus 11x. So this minus 11x can be replaced by these two. So 3x squared minus 9x minus 2x plus 6. Create pairs and try to take something common from individual pairs. 3 3s are 9, so 3 is common. X is present in both the terms, so x is also common. 3 has been taken out. Out of x square, 1x is outside, so 1x will remain inside. Minus 3 times 3 is 9. X is outside, fine. Minus 2 times 3 is 6, so 2 is common. There remains x. We have a negative sign over here, so the sign in the bracket will be changed. It becomes negative from the positive. 2 times 3 is 6. You must have marked that these two brackets are always identical. If they are not identical in your calculation, so you should conclude that you made a mistake. Take this common. X plus 3 is common. So we have 3x minus 2. So these are the demanded factors of these quadratics. So this over here, the last term is negative. Okay, very important. Last term is negative. 5 times 12 is 16. Rule number 3. If the last term is negative, obtain the middle term by subtraction. Okay. If the last term is negative, obtain the middle term by subtraction. So I have to obtain this 4 by subtraction. Okay. 12 minus 5 is not 4. So these are not the factors. 60. 10 times 6. 10 6 jar 60. 10 minus 6 is 4. That's fine. So it is obeyed. Obtain the middle term by subtraction. So subtraction of these two, 10 minus 6 is 4. So I obtain this 4. Now I have to make use of this rule number 4. If the last term is negative, apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor. Apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor and opposite sign to smaller. And obviously this x. So this plus 10 and minus 6, plus 10 minus 6 gives you plus 4. 5x squared plus 10x minus 6x minus 12. Now we will take something common from these two terms. 5 times 2 is 10, so 5 is common. X is present in both the terms, so x is also common. 5 has been taken out. From x into x, from x squared, I have taken one x outside, so x will remain inside. X into x is x squared plus 5 times 2 is 10. X is outside. Minus 6 times 2 is 12. So 6 is common. So there remains x. Oh. As we have a negative sign over here, I have to make change in this sign. So this negative will become positive. 6 times 2 is 12. And in a logical way, minus plus minus, that's all. X plus 2 is present over here in both the terms. So take this common, x plus 2. So there remains 5x minus 8. 5x minus 6, sorry. Question number 6. 6x squared minus 13x minus 8. 6 into 8 is 48. Okay. Now say this sign. Last term is negative. If the last term is negative, obtain the middle term by subtraction. I have to obtain this 13 by subtraction. Okay. 8 minus 6 is 2, not the 13. So think of other factors. I have this. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 fours are 48. But 12 minus 4 is 8, not the 13. So these are not the factors. 16 threes are 48. 16 minus 3 is 13. So this rule is obeyed. Obtain the middle term by subtraction. 16 minus 3 is 13. Now this rule. If the last term is negative, apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor. Apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor and opposite to the smaller. So minus 16 plus 3 gives you minus 13. Apply this x. 6x squared minus 16x plus 3x minus 8. Create two pairs. And one thing very important, you can change the orders of these three. You can write plus 3x over here and you can write minus 16x over here. Even though you will get the same answer, it's not necessary that you have to write bigger in front and the smaller behind it. No need at all. You can write minus 6x plus 10x. Then also you will get the same answer, no problem. Okay, now common from this pair. What is common? In the table of 6, you will never get 16. 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, 6 threes are 18, not the 16. So 16 is not in the table of 6. So 6 is not common at all. So what is common? That is 2. 2 threes are 6 and 2 eights are 16. So 2 is common. X, so x is common. 2 times 3 is 6. Out of this x squared, I have taken one x outside, so one x will remain minus 2 8 are 16. This x has been taken out plus. So 8 doesn't come in the table of 3. 3 1 ja 3, 3 2 ja 6, 3 3 ja 9. 8 will never fall in the table of 3. So out of these two, 3 and 8, nothing is common. If nothing is common, then you should mean that 1 is common. Because 1 3 are 3, 1 8 are 8. So 1 is a factor of both. 1 3 are 3x minus 1 8 are 8. So this sign has remained as it is because the sign in front of the bracket is positive. So no need to change this sign. But the sign before the bracket is negative, then you have to make change in the sign. Okay, take care. See, these two brackets are identical. So I can take them common. So the common is 3x minus 8. So there remains 2x plus 1. Okay, again, it's a quadratic. We want to factorize it. 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Look at the sign of negative term. This last term, sorry. This last term is negative. If the last term is negative, obtain the middle term by subtraction. So I have to obtain this 5 by subtraction. 6 minus 4 is 2. That is not 5. So these are not the factors. 12 2s are 24. 12 minus 2 is 10, not 5. So these are not the factors. 8 3s are 24. 8 minus 3 is 5. That's good. Now the second rule. If the last term is negative, like this, if the last term is negative, apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor. Apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor and opposite to smaller. Obviously, this x will come. See, plus 8 and minus 3. Plus 8 minus 3 will give you plus 5. 4x squared. Replace this 5x by this 2. Plus 8x minus 3x minus 6. Try to take something common. 4 2 is 8, so 4 is common. X is present in both the terms, so x is also common. So that remains x plus 4 2 are 8. X has been taken common. Minus 3 times 2 is 6, so 3 is common. There remains x. See, again, there is negative sign over here. So this will be changed to plus 3 2s are 6. So from this big bracket, this x plus 2 is common. So let us take it common. So that remains 4x minus 3. Okay, the last example of this tutorial. I will take an example which is just like the twin brother of this. 4x squared minus 5x minus 6. Okay, there is very small change, this negative instead of this positive. 4 times 6 is 24. I want, as the last term is negative, I have to obtain this 5 by subtraction. So I have to use these factors. 8 3s are 24. 8 minus 3 is 5. Now this rule is very important. Apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor. Apply the sign of middle term to the bigger factor and opposite to smaller. Obviously, this x will come. So 4x squared. Replace this minus 5x by this 2. Minus 8x plus 3x minus 6. create two pairs. 4 times 2 is 8, so 4 is common. X is present in both the terms, so x is common. X into x is x squared minus 4 2s are 8. X has been taken common, plus 3 2s are 6, so 3 is common. X minus 3 times 2 is 6. X minus 2 is present in both the terms, so take that common. You will get 4x plus 3. Okay. So I have used these 4 rules to factorize it. Okay. You can use this method of factorization in your chapter named quadratic equations to get the roots or zeros of the quadratic equation. You can use the same method. The only thing will come, this equals to 0. Okay. I will look into that particular chapter afterwards. Take care.